again. It's a little chilly out, but trying to get some work done on the wagon some more. We have not had time. We've been waiting on some parts to come in and some things to kind of progress moving forward. So let's get into it. All right, the most obvious difference is this front end. Obviously, I told some of y'all I was flirting with the idea of going black with the front grills. I intended to leave the outsides polished. I did that and I wasn't a fan of it, so I fully blacked it out and I kind of like the look. I think it kind of adds a little bit of depth to it and also makes it look kind of a little bit mean. So I like it for now. We may switch it up later. Obviously, hadn't put these headlights in over here, so you won't see those. That side as good as you can. This side, but I left the red stripe. I think she looks a lot meaner. As far as underhood goes, we have not really done a whole lot. We have been busy. The major thing is this stupid dipstick. Obviously, it's a new one. Let's get into why we have a new one and the issue that took me so long on that and why I really haven't had a whole lot of time for other things. Well, this is what happens when you don't have all your ducks in a row before you start putting stuff together. So obviously the alternator had to come back out. And that is because I went to change out the oil dipstick for this nice new one right here that matches everything, nice and shiny. The other one was broke off down low. I didn't realize how broke off it was until we got in here and realized it broke off like right flush. So yes, that's an extractor bit. If you don't have a set, highly recommend. We're about to back this thing out of here pretty easily with that. So shouldn't be a big deal, but alternator definitely had to come back off. It's just little stuff like this that takes up time, energy, and effort where you could be spending that time somewhere else. So nothing you can plan for sometimes. It was all there. I just didn't realize how broke off it was. So it is what it is. Keep moving. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what victory looks like. As you can see, it broke way down off in there. Extractor bits. Good money spent. I don't use them often, but when I have to, they come in handy. So that saved me from having to drill it out, take the oil pan off, get the timing cover, get the shavings out of the pan, or get the timing cover off to fix that. There's no way in heck I was getting that thing. I'm not sure if it's going to focus. It's not going to focus. Anyway, there's no way I was going to get that out without some kind of something pulling it up or twisting it out. So money well spent. Anyways, get this back on track. Let me get the new one in here, put everything back together, get this done. Moving on, obviously we got a new dipstick for the trans as well. The engine now sits actually pretty level. That's because it's pretty much installed on the trans cross member. And now let's get into another issue that I'm having that I'll have to work with. Obviously, when you put parts on here that didn't come from the factory or that are aftermarket. Let me get some better light under here so y'all can see. That is the trans cross member. And the exhaust is going to hit it pretty much right on. So I have two options. I can go shorty headers and probably avoid making a new trans cross member, or I can make a new trans cross member that's not so thick and has different dimensions to clear all the exhaust. Should be pretty easy. I'm kind of flirting with what to do. The next thing I've got to do, the suspension is on the front. Obviously ignore this rusty stuff. This will all get fixed up in here. Don't worry about that. The suspension is fully together, so I'm going to turn it lock to lock and make sure I'm not binding on the headers or anything else. If I'm not binding on the headers or anything else, most likely I'm going to make me a new trans cross member that will clear this and get a better angle So you guys can see just how this side's not as bad as the other, but as you can tell, that is 100% going to run into it. So we'll not be able to use that cross member. I could also pie cut the header and move it over just a little bit, but I don't really want to do that. They're brand new headers. The other side's a lot worse. So let me show you the other side. Driver's side, as you can see, it is right smack dab on it. So there's no real room over here. The other side's kind of, again, could be fixed, but could pie cut it right in there and probably move it out, angle it away. But again, I think I'm just going to continue to run into issues. So I think, like I said, as long as the suspension, which is hooked up, turns lock to lock, we are going to end up keeping the headers and making a new cross member. I think if I use the other C4 mount, I can essentially raise this part up and over closer and tighter in, either using a tube or a flat piece of metal. I'm not sure, I haven't gotten there yet. Still flirting with it, still getting to take some dimensions and measurements and decide what I'm going to do. But that's the standstill I'm at up here. On the motor, the wires have not been completed due to I got shorter ones that don't need to be cut so much off of. So I'm going to save these for another project. No big deal. Those should be in, I think, Saturday. So I'll probably have those done on the next update. Then the underhood should pretty much be ready to go, minus finishing up the power brake booster, which I've still got to get to. Brakes are my least favorite thing. I'm not sure why. They just always have been. Not hard, just tedious, and I don't really care for it. So anyway, moving further back, starter's still up there as it was last time. The roof patch is in. However, I've still got to get the tin canning out of it. There's some high spots, some low spots. Not a big deal. Patch is in. I've got to get the oil canning out, and then that should be done. I'll probably primer and mimic the paint on that just so it's not so obvious that I patched it, just because to me it looks bad. I'll probably blend the paint a little bit with the rust. Again, there's some high-low spots. Still got to get the oil canning out. Not a big deal back there. As far as the steel cage goes, we have most of it welded in. I'm still waiting on like 2 parts to come in to finish the fuel can, basically the fuel cell, getting it in over to the other side and into the factory filler location. And then I will decide what I'm doing for the floor around it. So that's pretty good. And then I'll clean up the rest of the underside here and finish up with the insulation. I did take the factory hooks, the headliner bows out, except for that one up front. I've still got to finish that because I'm probably not going to have time to run a headliner. So just one less thing to hit me in the head. And the last probable update that I have done is I got the door panel and window. So we have a window and a door panel over there now. I had a little issue with the regulator, but it's not a big deal. Obviously that door panel is different. It's off a different year. That is different than this one. I really don't care. Eventually I plan on replacing the door panels anyway. But for now it works to at least cover the door up, seal the water out. It was also like a cream color. It's now black. I dyed it. So the main thing is the window, and the window goes up and down, and the door lock goes open and closes now. So looks better than it did. That's the function and form. That is pretty much all the updates I have for you at this moment. I'm gonna have to figure something out on the wheels and tires because the wheels will not clear this hub. Obviously there's rust on there now from it sitting up. But the wheels will not clear this hub as it's kind of tapered. I have some spacers, but I'd probably have to turn them out to even push it off that. So trying to decide if I want to get new tires and new wheels and get something completely different or try to make these work. Obviously that's probably too wide of a tire back there. We've got to replace the tires anyway. So at some point we're figuring that out. But yeah, she's coming along, just slow, tedious stuff and stuff breaking. that dipstick issue was really annoying, especially because the alternator pretty much had to come all back out. So that was annoying and kind of a setback. Other than that, the other thing that I forgot about is this air cleaner. I wasn't sure if I like it. It kind of sticks out a little bit too much for me, but I kind of do like that it covers the distributor a little bit, kind of gives it like a sleeker look. So I'm kind of on the fence about it for now. I'll probably run it, may change it later on, but for now it matches the valve covers, looks pretty good, does the task I wanted to do. So we may trade it out later on for something cooler, but pretty much all the updates I have. I will have some more. I'm gonna try to get some work done this weekend, so I'll hopefully finish up the roof and maybe get a jump on the fuel cell and the floor. We'll see what time permits with and just kind of what happens. So, all right, appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all staying with me, and hopefully y'all still enjoying my videos and hang around for more. We're getting closer and closer to Hot Rod Power Tour every day. So we'll catch y'all at the next video.